Have you ever wondered what happens when the oldest, most tradition-bound institution out there, the judicial system, collides head-on with the absolute most cutting-edge technology on the planet? I mean, artificial intelligence.
It's honestly a profound collision. We're
Yeah.
looking at, centuries of slow, very deliberate precedent just crashing headfirst into generative algorithms
Yeah.
that operate in literally milliseconds.
Yeah, exactly. And the friction there is just wild. Right now, there are about 50 million people waiting for a judge to hear their case in India.
50 million. That's a staggering backlog.
It's incomprehensible, right? 50 million instances of people, families, businesses just sitting in legal limbo. So to tackle that, they're turning to AI.
Right.
But the catch is, to govern that AI, they're proposing a bureaucracy so vast, so incredibly complex, that it might actually paralyze the exact system it's trying to save.
Which is what makes our source material today so fascinating. We are taking a deep dive into an excerpt from a blueprint called The Governance and Regulation of Judicial Artificial Intelligence.
Yes, and our mission for this deep dive is to untack this proposed framework. Because when you look at it, you have to ask, are they building a streamlined judicial system for the future? Or are they just, creating a massive new bureaucracy to protect their own turf?
Right, and what's fascinating here is that to figure out their true motive, you really have to look at the command structure they're proposing.
All right, let's unpack this. Who is actually sitting at the head of the table?
Well, the blueprint calls for the creation of a full-time, permanent apex body. This is the ultimate authority. They are tasked with regulating, promoting, overseeing AI in the judiciary.
And the text says this covers everything, right? From static predictive models to autonomous AI agents.
Exactly. The static models that just analyze past data, all the way to autonomous systems that could theoretically execute tasks without human intervention.
But here's the thing. The blueprint claims this apex body is going to handle both innovation and regulation. But looking at the roster, innovation really feels like window dressing.
Yeah, look at the mechanism of who actually holds the power in that room.
It sounds like they are assembling the Avengers of the legal and tech worlds. But instead of fighting Thanos, they're fighting rogue algorithms.
That's actually a great way to put it.
I mean, let's break down the seats. You've got the Chief Justice of India, the CJI, sitting at the absolute top as chairman.
Right.
Then underneath the CJI, 2 Supreme Court judges and 2 High Court Chief Justices. So that's 5 of the highest-ranking legal minds forming an absolute majority bloc.
And then the remaining seats.
They hand out single seats to, like, a government IT rep from Mighty, a cybersecurity expert, a finance expert, an advocate, and an AI professor from the National Judicial Academy in Bhopal.
So, yeah, they didn't build a tech incubator. They built a constitutional defense mechanism.
Exactly. But I have to push back here. Is a committee this large, dominated by judges, actually capable of moving fast enough to keep up with AI?
Well,
I mean, the tech evolves by the week. By the time you coordinate 5 chief justices' schedules to debate a new language model, the tech is already 2 generations ahead.
Right, but you're assuming their primary goal is speed. It's not.
It's not.
No, their primary goal is institutional survival. The apex body is not there to rapidly deploy the newest tech toy. They are there to build an administrative immune system.
An immune system. Okay, explain that.
Think about how white blood cells surround a foreign body. This committee is designed to surround any new algorithm and neutralize any potential legal threat before it touches actual jurisprudence.
Because if you move fast and break things in the legal system, you're breaking the Constitution.
Exactly. A static AI making a sorting error is a headache. But an autonomous AI hallucinating a precedent or applying bias to automated bail hearings, that is a fundamental breakdown of civil rights. The heavy judicial presence is an anchor against the velocity of the tech.
Okay, I get the immune system idea, but building that means you need more than one command center. A 9-member apex body in Delhi can't oversee the digital architecture of every local court in a country of over 1 billion people.
Which is why the blueprint details an astonishingly large operational substructure. They are spinning off 5 specialized permanent subcommittees.
Here's where it gets really interesting. 5 subcommittees just at the national level.
Right. You've got judicial, technical, infrastructure and finance, case and data management, and cybersecurity.
And on top of that, the Supreme Court is slated to form Core AI, right? The Center of Research and Excellence on Artificial Intelligence.
Yeah, Core AI acts as the academic engine. It brings together judges, lawyers, tech experts, postdoctoral researchers to essentially provide constant research and compliance support to the apex body.
So we have the Apex Command Center, 5 operational arms, and a massive academic think tank. But it doesn't stop there.
No, it delegates all the way down.
Right. The blueprint mandates that the Supreme Court and every single high court must constitute their own localized AI committees. 3 judges each, supported by an entire localized AI secretariat filled with tech and data science experts.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the snowball effect is highly intentional.
It feels like administrative cloning. We started with one apex body, and suddenly we have 5 subcommittees, core AI, and localized secretariats everywhere. Is this web of oversight actually necessary, or is it just administrative over-engineering?
To understand the bloat, you have to look at the underlying fear driving the judiciary. This entire labyrinth is built around maintaining absolute judicial independence.
Because whoever controls the algorithms functionally controls the institution.
Exactly. The judiciary is terrified of outsourcing their brain to the executive branch of the government. Look at the specific agencies mentioned in the blueprint.
Right. They mentioned bringing in officials from MAIDI, the Ministry of Electronics and IT, and the NIC, the National Informatics Center.
And CERT-IN, the National Cyber Defense Squad. Normally, a government department would just hand over their tech implementation to these agencies.
But the judiciary exists to hold the executive branch accountable. If the executive branch is writing the code that predicts case outcomes, the separation of powers completely dissolves.
Precisely. So the blueprint says, yes, we will bring in these experts from the NIC or CERT-IN, but they will function strictly under the supervision of the Chief Justice and the localized judge committees.
Wow. So they're saying we need your engineering skills, but you answer to our gavels, not your government ministers.
It's a massive closed-loop ecosystem. They never want to rely on an external power structure to manage their data.
Okay, building a parallel tech universe to maintain independence sounds noble in theory, but in practice, a closed loop means you have to pay for a closed loop.
Oh, absolutely. The financial projections reveal the true weight of this plan.
Yeah, let's talk about the price tag, because this is staggering. The blueprint estimates that running this sprawling web will require a paraphernalia of nearly 1,000 individuals.
1,000 new administrators.
1,000. And the operating cost, 250 to 300 cores per annum. For context for you listening, a core is 10 million, so we're looking at 2.5 to 3 billion rupees every single year, plus a capital expenditure that could exceed another 300 cores.
And you have to place those numbers right next to the 50 million pending cases. This raises an important question.
Wait a second, yeah. AI is supposed to be the ultimate efficiency tool. It's supposed to streamline things and save money. But here, they are proposing spending hundreds of crores and hiring 1,000 people just to administer the AI.
This is a massive irony.
Are we deploying these funds to actually handle cases or just to feed a new administration?
The author of the source text flags this exact contradiction. A technology meant to eliminate bottlenecks is basically creating a new one. The text uses a very telling phrase, dysfunctional cross-currents.
Dysfunctional cross-currents. What does that actually look like in a local court?
Well, imagine a high court wants to implement a simple AI tool, say a language processor, to translate regional court documents into English to speed up appeals.
Seems straightforward.
Right? So the local AI secretariat proposes it. But because it touches case data, it has to be vetted by the National Case and Data Management Subcommittee. Then the Cybersecurity Subcommittee has to audit it. Then the Technical Subcommittee reviews the code. If anyone disagrees, it gets kicked up to the 9-member apex body to make a final ruling.
So a software installation that should take, 2 weeks, ends up trapped in a 2-year holding pattern of intercommittee warfare?
Exactly. The labyrinth guarantees delayed decision-making. Instead of AI accelerating justice, the administration of it paralyzes the court further.
You're spending billions of rupees to build a machine that isn't allowed to be turned on without a dozen signatures.
It's paralyzed by its own red tape.
So what does this all mean? We have a proposed system that protects judicial independence, but it's structurally bloated and wildly expensive. The 50 million cases aren't going away. So what's the alternative before this trap gets cemented into place?
The source text actually pivots to a very aggressive course correction here. The argument is that the judiciary does not need to hire 1,000 brand new people to maintain independence.
But how do they avoid outsourcing to the executive branch, which is their biggest fear?
By utilizing existing government officers on deputation. As AI rolls out across the broader government, it's going to automate routine duties in dozens of other departments, right?
Right, freeing up manpower.
Exactly. It frees up thousands of existing salaried government workers who already have administrative clearance. The courts could just borrow this newly freed up manpower on temporary assignments.
So you bring them in to run the secretariats and send them back when the heavy lifting is done. That drastically reduces costs.
Yes, without surrendering control of the algorithms to an external ministry. But to implement this leaner structure, the source argues the original blueprint needs a serious review.
And look at who the author proposes for this review committee. The original plan was mostly legal insiders from the National Judicial Academy, but the proposed fix brings in heavy hitters from outside.
It's quite a list.
They want representation from the Indian Institute of Science, the IIS, an expert from an IIM and IIT, someone from the National Law School, an expert in organizational structuring from the private sector, and a chartered accountant.
Notice the specific skill sets there: engineering, workflow management, corporate finance.
It's like the author is saying, lawyers are great at law, but we need engineers and accountants to build a functioning machine. A Supreme Court judge knows jurisprudence, but they don't know how to map server loads or streamline a 1,000-person bureaucracy.
Because knowledge is most valuable when practically applied. You can design a legally flawless framework, but if it bankrupts the public purse or gridlocks the courts, it fails.
Right.
An IIM expert looks at those 5 subcommittees and instantly sees overlapping jurisdictions. A chartered accountant looks at a 300-crore budget and finds the leaks. They force the blueprint to survive contact with reality.
And there is a massive looming threat if the judiciary refuses to prune this plan. The source text ends with a severe warning about external oversight.
A very real reality check. The warning centers around the central government and the CAG, the Controller and Auditor General.
The ultimate financial watchdogs.
The irony is just immense. The judiciary designed this massive web specifically to protect its independence from the rest of the government.
But independence requires fiscal responsibility.
Exactly. If the judiciary forces through a bloated blueprint that burns hundreds of crores while 50 million cases sit in a backlog, the CAG is not going to just look the other way.
They'll intervene. The central government will get very uncomfortable with the setup. If the courts don't streamline their own governance by borrowing existing manpower, external auditors will likely force their hand anyway.
By trying to build an impenetrable fortress to protect their independence, they might invite the exact external interference they were desperate to avoid.
What an incredible paradox. Well, let's recap the journey we took through this deep dive today. We started by looking at a grand, 9-member apex body led by the CJI, designed to act as an immune system against constitutional threats from AI.
Then we explored the massive 1,000-person bureaucratic web of subcommittees and secretariats that defensive posture spawned.
Right, and we weighed those staggering financial costs, hundreds of crores, against the reality of 50 million pending cases. Finally, looking at the urgent call to bring in engineers and accountants to fix the plan before government auditors seize control.
It really is a fascinating tension between innovation and control, and I want to leave you with a final, lingering question to ponder about all of this.
Let's hear.
We focused heavily today on the immense cost of regulating AI in the present. But consider this. As AI eventually evolves and takes over the routine, mundane tasks of those 1,000 new administrators, and as it slowly chips away at the millions of pending cases, will this massive oversight structure eventually have to regulate itself out of existence?
Wow.
Are we building a sprawling, permanent bureaucracy for what is ultimately a temporary transitional problem?
That is such a profound thought to end on. Regulating themselves out of a job. Keep that in mind the next time you hear about AI entering our most historic institutions. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, and keep questioning the systems being built around you.